Welcome to the Vault Studios NFL podcast, an Australian twist on all things NFL. The boys are cracking into a nice cold beer from Burnley Brewing. Let's join them.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, JA, and I am joined by my good friend, Richie Garraway. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, mate. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. It is Christmas Eve in Australia right now. Do have to apologise. We did miss last week's show, and we're a bit late with this week's show. It's all my fault. Been very, very busy finishing up the year at work, but it is over now for the year, which is terrific. Apologies for missing it last week and being a bit late this week, but a lot has happened in those couple of weeks. But what I do want to do, I got another little apology to make, Richie. Last week we talked about our great sponsors, J&D's Breaks Down Under, and this fantastic helmet they've put up for the Patreon this month, which I called a JJ Watt helmet. It's actually a Deshaun Watson helmet. Now, you can see where I got confused because that looks like W-A-T-T. It's actually Deshaun Watson. So not JJ Watt, still a really good helmet. A guy that hopefully stays in Texas. I don't think he's really got many options at the moment. He's got more of a chance of being in jail. So it could be worth a bit in the next couple of years. But that's what we've got for the Patreon this month. And thanks very much to the boys at J&D's Breaks Down Under. Get in there, join them. They did a great series last month. Some awesome helmets are in it. Really good stuff. Also, thanks to our friends at Burnley Brewing. Melbourne is open at the moment. Who knows how long it's going to last for. So get in there, have a meal, have a few beers before Omnicom destroys us again. Also, Dark Horse Electrics. Need any electrical work done and you're in Melbourne, give Dylan a call from Dark Horse Electrics. He's the best going around. And also, US Sports Gear. The football season in Victoria is it's kicking off in January. There's also competitions all over the state. National tournaments coming up. Australian tournaments coming up. If you need your gear, get it from ussportsgear.com.au. Richie, let's just launch into it. We missed it. First firing. We've got him. Urban Meyer.
I don't think many people would have had this right come the start of the year because everyone expected the Jags to absolutely stink, and they do. Yeah. But I don't think anyone thought he'd be one and done.
I think, and a lot's come out. I think stuff was coming out. There's obviously the incident with the girl in back home, wherever he was, in Ohio, wherever he lives, with dancing with some girl in a nightclub or her grinding on him, which was embarrassing for him. But they said the biggest takeaway we had from that is why after a loss are you hanging around in your hometown? Like other coaches literally don't sleep during the season. They sleep at the bloody facility and you're hanging around to have a few beers at a pub with people. Like that was the biggest takeaway. And it turns out that that's been a lot of the truth, that he kind of says a lot of things, but doesn't do a lot of things, Urban Meyer. And the Jaguars owners and GM got sick of it, sick of putting up with it. He apparently is extremely rude to his players. He kicked a kicker at practice, which I thought was funny, but also ridiculous. Like, why are you kicking anyone? I don't know. Have you ever been kicked at work, Richie? Never?
No, I've never been kicked at work and then immediately told to be better at my fucking job. So, no, I can't say that's ever happened to me. I think I'll be down at the HR department pretty quick if it did.
Absolutely. And that's when I saw it coming, when all the stuff started coming about his assistant coaches, just little things started coming out. The stuff about James Robinson not getting carries, no one knowing why. And then obviously a coach leaked that because the coach said we want him in the game, but he's not. And then, him saying that if he catches any coaches leaking sources, they'll just won't be coaches anymore. He'll just fire them, that sort of stuff. When that stuff started to come out, I thought, when there's smoke, there's fire, Rich. And there was plenty of fire coming from where that smoke was.
He literally kept calling his assistant coaches losers and other things like that. I mean, by a lot of reports, this is a mutiny from within, where the assistant coach just said this guy's an absolute joke. He doesn't understand the NFL, etc. And it was just a culmination of things. I mean, you can go all the way back to when he hired that disgraced strength coach from Iowa or wherever that guy was from. Yeah. Like, he's just made so many poor decisions. As you said, staying back and getting videoed, being grind up on and things like that's just embarrassing. Like, you have a job to do. There's 32 of these jobs, and that's it. Yeah. This isn't college with 120 Division I jobs.
Do you reckon he gets a college job? You're more of a college guy than me. Do you reckon I reckon he gets one.
there's always a college desperate enough to have him, but this is a guy whose his entire past is littered with stuff. Like he had that horrendous program at Florida, which he just put the halo of Tim Tebow over the top of, so we would all ignore all the arrests and assaults and all the other shit that went on there.
And he won, which
won.
is the biggest. What do we always say, Richie? If you're an asshole and you win, no one cares.
Winning hides everything.
Losing, they're all over you because. But the thing, I guess, the hard thing is everyone knew that Jags was going to be shit. No one thought they were going to be good. Like they've got the worst talent in the league up there with the Texans and the Jets and the Lions. Everyone knew they were going to be bad. Maybe Lawrence could have saved them, but then Lawrence came out and basically said that there's no quarterback development going on here because of Urban Meyer. I think it's a great move by the Jags. If you don't think he's the guy and it's creating this much turmoil, move on straight away and don't wait the season. They had plenty of reasons to fire him. Now, I don't know if they're paying him out. Who knows? I don't think Shad Khan really cares if he has to pay him for the next 5 years. That guy's got more money than half the world put together. So, I think he owns Tottenham. Is that right? He owns Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, I think he owns Tottenham Hotspur.
So I think he owns a basketball team as well. He's loaded. So I don't think the money's an issue for him. I think what an issue for him is getting his team right. And I think he's made the right decision. Don't ruin Lawrence. Don't let Lawrence, because right now he's looking like the worst quarterback in that first round. Like Kellen Mond looks better than him right now from the Texans.
I also think it's the last time we're going to see this college coach to NFL coach experiment because it just fails. I mean, at the end of the day, only 3 have won national championships in both. So obviously Jimmy Johnson with the Cowboys, Barry Switzer did it with Jimmy Johnson's team, and then Pete Carroll's done it.
Pete Carroll. And Pete Carroll failed as an NFL coach first, remember?
Exactly.
Miserably failed.
Yeah.
Nick Saban failed. Chip Kelly failed miserably.
Sirianno, Bucks coach. I mean, there's heaps. So it's just, for those who don't sort of really understand the college game, it's just different. It's just so different. It's a completely different work environment, dealing with completely different, short of a better word, staff, your players. It's just completely different. And I don't think you're going to see any pro teams take that chance again. I just don't think they're going to risk it because when you get it wrong like this, it's so embarrassing. And whilst that franchise was so far behind anyway, this puts them even further behind. You've wasted a full year of a rookie contract with, I've gone blank.
Lawrence.
With Lawrence, sorry. And he's got worse. He's going to put up one of the worst statistical seasons of a first-round quarterback, arguably ever, especially for a first round.
Considering all the other guys too have been like
serviceable.
Wilson's struggled, but he has poor talent, but he's definitely struggled. It's unfair to to say he hasn't, but I think he's had better moments than Lawrence. But who are the other first-round pick quarterbacks?
Well, you got your mate McCorkle. Obviously, being probably the most successful record-wise.
Unfortunately, he's probably going to win Rookie of the Year.
You got the lunch tray and
and
our mate in Chicago.
Fields. Yeah, so really the first round picks this year, other than Mac Jones, they've all been pretty average. I think if I could pick one that I'd want right now, I would take Justin Fields. I think he looks the most dynamic.
I still want Lawrence.
Just because you've watched a lot more college.
You just need him in a better situation with a decent coach.
Yeah.
Like, it's really not that hard.
They reckon
plenty of him out there and get him in a system that's going to suit him.
Who's the Eagles coach? The fired Eagles coach? Peterson. They reckon Peterson's the favourite for the Jags job.
Interesting.
He did a good job with Carson Wentz early on. I know everyone says it was Frank Reich, but he was still there. So
he finished up relatively unpopular there. So it'll be really interesting to see. It was more not popular with the players.
It was more the owners that was the problem. They were fighting. The owners and him were fighting. So at least he's a pro. At least he's done it before. But yeah, I think you're right. Like, who would you want if you're a team like Jaguars? Would you want a Kellen Moore, who's a young, proven NFL coach as an offensive coordinator, or do you want Lincoln Riley to come out of college, who you don't know if he's going to be able to develop the NFL game? Like, it's a different game here.
I wouldn't get Lincoln Riley, but there's certainly. There is no Cliff Kingsbury before people are screaming at their podcast.
Yeah, it's true.
It has had good success. So, hey, I guess maybe we will keep trying it. But he's obviously much younger He never won a national title in college.
No.
So
Well, he was almost a bad hire when it happened because everyone was like, "You didn't do anything in college. Like, why are they hiring you?"
well, he got fired as the Texas Tech head coach. He was going to be the USC offensive coordinator before you know it. He's the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. So,
Yeah.
it's really one of those ones where do you try and get a proven head coach retread, or do you head down the path that many teams have been heading down lately and hire the next young offensive guru? Because
Sean
the game,
McVay, Matt LaFleur,
those sorts of guys,
Yep.
because the game is. I mean, how much you there's three things that are of uber importance of your team, and it's your quarterback, your offensive line, and your defensive line. They're the three most important, not positions, but groups in the NFL. They've probably got the quarterback problem solved. They just need someone who can develop him into what he's capable of becoming.
And
I don't think he got any less talented.
D-line's not terrible. Like Jonathan, who's the DN? Jonathan Allen. He's really decent. They got some good players. They're not dreadful.
And they're going to have, obviously, another high pick.
We have the number one pick again.
Bring in, I personally would head down the younger head coach route, who can build a bond with players and, start bringing in talent because you need a ton of it.
Absolutely they do. Well, look, Urban out. First coach fired. I don't think, like John Gruden, I don't think that's fair to say he was fired. He resigned.
100% he did.
Strange circumstances. Also suing them as well, which is great.
The betting agencies, the betting agencies did not pay that out.
Yeah, the funny thing is he's still suing the NFL because you know what? Funnily enough, the research they were doing into Dan Snyder, I don't know about you, Richie, I'm still looking at my watch waiting for the fucking information on Dan Snyder to come out. They were quick to nail Gruden, but they were like, oh, well, Dan Snyder's an
They'll bury it. It's a private organization. Because by all accounts, he will litigate it to the end. And the NFL just don't want to deal with it.
They forced Jerry Richardson out.
But he was old.
You're right.
Yeah, Dan Snyder's not old. He's not old at all.
And he's bros with all of them. Like, he's mates with Jerry Jones and all those guys. Like, they're all bros together. They're not going to throw him out. But yeah, I actually agree with Gruden, and I think he'll get some money. I don't agree with what he did. He deserved to not be a coach anymore. But it's funny that the research into Dan Snyder's emails, the only thing they found out was the head coach he's never been a coach of the Washington football team or the Redskins, never been a coach of them. Yet he was the only one that got railed out of all of it. No one else in the whole Washington football organizer. Who was he sending the pictures to? I would love to see the responses from Dan Snyder. I'm sure they weren't, oh, please don't send me that, Gruden. I don't want to see that. He's full of shit. There's some bullshit going on there. And they'll pay him out and they'll shut him up.
The other thing, the big thing to remember while we speak out I nearly called them the Redskins. While we talk about the Washington football team and Snyder, is it would set a precedence for if you screw up, we can take your team off you.
That's true.
The rest of the owners would be adverse to that situation, to say the least. That if you get caught in a compromising position, are you going to lose your franchise? His franchise is one of the most valuable. It's always in the top 5.
Yeah, it is.
So if they can almost take it off you or force you to sell it, if you're sitting there and you own... I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, so let's just make a team up. You own the San Antonio Roadrunners.
Good team.
And let's say you're only worth, a handful of billion instead of the 500 billion that the Cowboys is worth. You if you have some bad business dealings and you make and I'm not going to say mistakes because I think Snyder's got worse than that, but you're not going to side with railing that guy out in an owners meeting, open forum vote, because if you ever get caught doing something, you could lose your massive asset. And
let's not forget, Jerry Richardson. They forced Jerry Richardson, who was the Carolina Panthers owner. He sold it for $2.5 billion. He didn't get kicked out. Like, they just said, you've got to sell up, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll sell up." Like, he was old. His family was old. Sell it.
I don't think they were particularly interested in it. They were probably going to sell it anyway. Yeah. It's not like the Cowboys. It's the family business where every relative works in the business. It's
Must
not
be
like
nice
that
growing
for
up
them.
knowing one day I'll just work at the Cowboys. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how crap I am and whatever I'm doing. I'll get some sort of role at the Dallas Cowboys. I'll be fine.
Intern at the start and work your way up.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into the meat on the bones of tonight's episode. 3 games left in the season. We're going to do a bit of a playoff picture. Some wild scenarios going on, Rich. But where do you want to start? Sorry, I've already put it on the screen, so you know where you have to start. No option.
I guess I'll start with the AFC.
Oh well, I thought you wanted to.
All right. So, quick recap, because some people like me who are never paying attention as close as we probably should. 7 playoff berths. There was an extra one added last year, and a 17th game was added as well. So we have 3 weeks to go. It is COVID crazy out there. It really affected the NFL last week, especially some teams that are in the playoff hunt, like the Brownies, who literally had a loss and dropped from a 4th ranking
it would have been 4 to 12.
to like 12. Insane.
It was the biggest change in position in the history of the NFL from a loss in the history of the NFL.
And if their kicker, who's missed something like 6 of his last 11, nabs 1 or 2, it could have been a totally different story. So even with all those guys that are missing,
COVID hadn't have fucked them. They would have beaten the Raiders comfortably. The Raiders had barely anyone missing, and they couldn't. They managed a bloody 3-point win. Like, I'm sorry, if the Browns had everyone, they would have won that game easily. Then Myles Garrett gets hurt on the last drive, so you can't pass rush Derek Carr on the last drive. Like, you lose your best player. I said, Richie, you know I'm big on picking on the Browns. That was the stiffest loss you'll ever get. Why did they move the game if it didn't make anyone else eligible to play? Why bother moving?
It got one extra person clear protocol. They may as well just played it where it was.
I think the protocols will change because of what's happening over there. It'll change.
The biggest difference, and all sports leagues are being affected by this at the moment in America, but I think it really only got them 2 extra days of practice. So Nick Mullins gets more reps. That's really all that move was for. But look, let's come back to them in a minute, because they're in the hunt, I guess you can call it right now. The Chiefs, whatever was ailing them is all but fixed. They're 10-4. They're cruising. I think they'll probably wrap up the division. They're 2 games ahead. They're all good. Patriots 9-5. They are cruising. The Bills are still on their tail, but they play each other again this week. Patriots already beaten them once. It's really hard to sweep, but that first game was at Bills. So Patriots now get the return game at home. They win that, it's over. Titans, who had a pretty ordinary loss, a 9-5. Colts on their heels at 8-6. They could go anywhere. Then the craziest thing of all, in the NFC North, Cincinnati are first in the division, which I don't think anybody would have had at the start of the year. They're 8-6.
Unbelievable.
But then the Ravens,
going to win it.
The Ravens also 8-6. The Steelers 7-6-1, so they're only half a game back. And then the Brownies at 7-7, who went, as we said, from the 4th seed, dropping all the way down to the 12th, making life difficult. Who have a horrible run home. I think they're cooked.
Pretty
much.
Bengals aren't going to win it. The division's going to be decided this weekend. The AFC North gets decided this weekend when the Ravens play the Bengals.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah. If the Ravens win that, they'll run it home, because then the Bengals play the Chiefs, which I don't think they beat the Chiefs.
A loss, yeah.
And then they play the Browns, and I think the Browns will get them, because
they'll need it.
I think they'll be better by then. Whereas like the Steelers, who I don't know how the Steelers keep winning. I don't know how they beat the Titans because they're injured, but I don't know how the fuck they keep winning these football games. Like, they are a dreadful football team. You know what? I guess give them some credit. Like, they're finding ways to win. Like, I guess that just shows that that's the sort of organization they are. They work hard. They try hard. They're well coached. You know, is Tomlin a scheme coach? No, but he gets the best out of his players. I definitely agree with that. They try hard for him. But then they have got the Chiefs next week. the Browns, and then the Ravens. So really, I guess the point is being with the NFC North that it's in whoever wants it can go and get it right now. Anyone can win that division. I guess just if they win the division, are any of them going to get in with a wild card? Probably not. Because I think the Bills and the Chargers are certainly going to get one of them, and I think the Colts will get the other.
I do too.
And all three of them.
Exactly. Now, you didn't mention, I don't think the Chargers can win enough to win the division, but the other two you just mentioned certainly can. So I think they're going to wrap up wild cards. The three of them
have Broncos and Raiders next to as well. Like,
no, don't the Texans?
They have Texans, Broncos, Raiders. Like,
exactly.
They're going to win two of those games. They'll beat the Texans.
The old saying, they're the masters of their own destiny. Like, whatever happens for them. Whereas you look at some of the other teams, like the Browns have got the Packers this week in Lambeau, I'm pretty sure. So that's almost certainly a loss. Then they've got to go to the Steelers and then they host Cincinnati. It might be too late by the time it gets to the end for them.
And I think the Colts are home too. Like, they play the Cardinals this week in Arizona. I think that's probably a tough. Like, Arizona coming off a couple of bad losses. I think they might come out. Like, who knows? That's a 50-50 there. Then they get the Raiders and the Jaguars. Like, they're going to win those two. They're going to beat the Raiders and the Jaguars the way they're playing right now, which will give them 10 wins, 10-7 if they lose to the Cardinals. I struggle to see how. Like, there's no way the Ravens, Steelers, or Browns all three get to 10-7. It just doesn't happen.
Well, they'll play each other.
Yeah, exactly. And the Chargers are going to. I think the Chargers win their next three games. I think they finish either 11-6 or 10-7. They'll lock it in. And then the Bills, the only one. Like, this is the dumb thing about the Bills, because the Patriots lost. The Bills play the Patriots this week. If they beat the Patriots, they're going to take the division lead again. They're tied on win-loss record. It's only the head-to-head keeping it different. So if they win this week, they'll go to the number 2 seed, and the Patriots will drop to the number 7. But this is just such a wild race.
The crazy thing about the Bills is if they can get over the Patriots, they're going to win out because they finished with the Falcons and the Jets.
They win both those games. Like, the Falcons and Jets are fucking done. They've packed their bags. They're like, can we just finish for the year already? We've had enough.
Yeah.
Just forfeit.
Well, the worst thing is the Falcons play the Lions this week. There's a chance they lose.
Well, hey, don't you? You know what? I'm all about the Lions right now.
Who isn't?
If you're a Lions fan, really enjoy the last couple of weeks. Like, really enjoy it, because you've beaten 2 good teams the last 2 weeks. Like, you've beaten 2 playoff teams 2 weeks in a row, Lions. You know what? I'm proud of him. I'm happy for Dan Campbell. I laughed at that guy. He has won me over so hard this season. I would run through a brick wall for that guy. I thought he was full of shit, but I genuinely have a lot of time for him. It's one I got wrong. I've really enjoyed him. He just thoroughly enjoys being a football coach. And you know what? I want to be around those people. Good on him.
If you look up football guy in the dictionary, this is a picture of Dan Campbell. Football guy.
You know what? He's a guy that if he got fired in a couple of years, he'd be like, yeah, look, it happens, man. I had a great time. I'll go coach again. Like, it'll be good. I'll just go coach D-line for someone. I don't mind, you know?
Yeah, he'll be a tight ends coach for someone.
Yeah, I'll just go be tight end coach with the Saints again. I don't mind, man. I just want to be around football. I don't care. Like, you know, those guys, like, I'm just blessed that I get paid to play football. Yeah, what? Richie, I'll predict how I think the AFC is going to end up, all right? You ready? I'm not going to do the standings. Like, I don't care about this. I think Chiefs will be number 1 seed. That's about all. I think the division winners will be Buffalo in the East, Ravens in the North, Titans in the South, only because the Colts have lost to them twice and I don't think they can catch them. The Titans would have to lose out and the Colts would have to win out, which is just too much. The Chiefs will win the West, and the wild cards will be the LA Chargers, the Indianapolis Colts, and you ready, Richie?
Mm-hmm.
The New England Patriots. I didn't go out there at all.
I think you're probably right. It's the really interesting one is the Bills and the Patriots, because both their remaining games after they play each other are so winnable. Like, I think we've already mentioned the Bills, but then I think the Patriots finished with the Dolphins and somebody else crummy. I do kind of feel for the Dolphins a bit. Being 7-7, they've got 2 terrible losses. One to the Jags in London and one to Atlanta. I'm pretty sure that was at home. I'd have to double check. If they won those 2 games, as they probably should have, they're 9-7.
No, they
And
win that. They're 10-7. They're 10-4 right now if they win that. They're the number 1 seed.
Nah, they're 7-7, aren't they?
It's telling me they're 8-6. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
8-6.
Sorry, my mistake.
But yeah, they'd be 10-4 if they didn't drop those 2 stupid games.
Exactly. And everyone's going, oh, they're playing the weakest part of the schedule. You can only play the people who are on it, and the 2 easiest wins, theoretically, they blew it.
Yeah.
So now they should be in a much better place than they are right now.
Yeah, I agree.
So it is really interesting. That one is really, really interesting.
And then on the other side, we're kind of buried. I think the Raiders are done. They were lucky to get that win yesterday.
Agreed. They're cooked.
And not that their fight has been incredible. What that team's been through. Again, kind of like the Lions. If you're a Raiders fan, you should be really proud of that team. Like, not many guys get their coach fired, have those injuries that they've had, have their number 1 receiver kill someone in a car accident and go to jail. Like, the turmoil that team's been through the last couple of years to keep going. And I actually give a lot of credit to Derek Carr for that. I think he is the barometer of that team. I think when he just keeps them going, I really like Derek Carr. But the other team we're bearing the lead on, the Miami Dolphins have won 6 games in a row. They're 7-7. Mm-hmm. If they win this, so they play the Saints this week. I think they can win that game. I genuinely think they can beat the Saints. And then they get the Titans, who we know the Titans are struggling. We know they are on the decline. That sets up a Week 18 game against the Patriots. They could technically, if the Patriots drop a couple, which is, I know people are saying, oh, they're a good team, but they just lost a game. Who did the Patriots just lose to? They lost to someone pretty average. Colts. The Patriots just lost to the Colts. There's nothing telling you they won't drop another couple of games and then play Miami Dolphins for the wild card spot. Or the division. You just don't know.
That game will mean a lot. In general, the playoffs right now are wild. There's 29 teams alive still.
Yeah, I've never.
There's 3 games to go.
And people can say it's because of the extended game. It's not because of the extended game. This is just a close. I don't know if everyone's not very good or everyone's really crap. I don't know. I just think teams have it's the sign of the salary cap. All this sort of stuff kind of coming to... This is what the NFL wanted. They've set the league up so teams can't just dominate forever by keeping all the good players. You can't afford to keep all your good players anymore because the salaries are so high now. You pay a quarterback $40 million. There's a big chunk of your cap gone. What are you sacrificing for that? And this is what's happening now. Quarterbacks are massively highly paid. So the rest of your guys just move around and everything comes down to, teams that draft well and have good rookies, i.e. the Patriots this year. Mac Jones is the difference for them this year. That Stevenson rookie, again, he's a 6th-round pick that's having a massive impact on the team. Couple of free agent signings, mid-tier free agent signings, work out, and your team turns into a much better team. That's what it's all about. It's wild. The NFL is just huge now, and I hope this is how it's going to be every year from now on. That we have 3 weeks to go, and we're I don't know. There are literally 20 teams that can be in the playoffs, or 25.
29.
29. Yeah. Yeah, I struggle to think that the New York Giants are going to make it at 4-10, but you never know. Stranger things eliminated. Though. Stranger things definitely haven't happened. That would be the strangest thing that would ever happen if they made the playoffs.
Yeah. Hey, there's only 6 teams that are eliminated.
Yeah,
6.
It's wild. Should we move over to the NFC?
Sure.
Let's go.
Green Bay have clinched. We do have someone who's home and hosed. That's mainly because Detroit and Chicago have been mathematically eliminated, basically giving them the division.
They get
comfy.
Browns. They get the dinged up Browns this week, then the Vikings, and then the Lions. Really, they should win out. They should finish 15-3. Really, 14-4 first. They're going to be the number 1 seed. Yeah. I think.
Your Dallas Cowboys are number 2, mainly thanks to your conference record. The conference record's outstanding. It's 8-1.
Undefeated in the division.
Yeah, but it's not division. Obviously, that obviously helps. But the first tiebreaker is conference record. A lot of people don't realize that it is not head-to-head. It is conference record. Dallas Cowboys 8-1, outstanding. All your losses to
the NFC North.
It's the NFC North. AFC North. AFC North.
No, AFC West. We've lost to the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Raiders.
Oh,
No,
and
we
you
beat
just beat the Chargers.
We lost
Yeah.
to the Bucks week 1. That's our only loss to the NFC. We've beaten everyone else
Yeah.
in the NFC.
Hilarious. So Dallas Cowboys are your number 2 seed. My Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who should be 11-3, are 10-4 on top of the South, and the Cardinals are also 10-4, but they are one game ahead of the LA Rams, who are right on their heels, 10-4 as well. They just, again, only thanks to conference record, that's splitting that. San Francisco 49ers 8-6, Minnesota Vikings unbelievably 7-7 have managed to crawl their way in. Of course, after I mulliganed them, I should have known better.
Think about all their wins, though. It's insane that they're in the playoff race. Honestly, they've had some terrible losses this year. They lost to fucking Dallas's backup. Like, literally everyone penciled it. When Dak Prescott was out, they're like, yeah, penciling a loss here. This is over. And they lose to him. Like, I can't even forgot his name. That's how bad it is.
They're, I could easily make them 10-4. I could also make them 4-10.
Comfortably. Yeah.
Insane season from them. But right now they're in, but they are tied with Philly, who are also 7-7, and New Orleans, who are 7-7. After that, it gets a little dicey for that last playoff spot. You got Washington 6-8, Atlanta 6-8, Carolina 5.
They all have to win out. Those teams all have to win out.
Of course they do.
Washington have got Cowboys, Eagles, and Giants. I'm sorry. I actually think they'll beat the Cowboys this week because you normally split division. It's very rare you go 6-0 in your division. I just don't think that's going to happen. And Washington, that's a game they'll lose. But even I don't think, as I just said, you're 50-50 in your division and they have 3 division games left. I think they lose to one of those teams and they don't make it. And then you said Atlanta. Atlanta have the Lions, the Bills, and the Saints. I think they definitely lose one of them. I think they probably lose all 3 of them. I think the Lions beat them this week. And then who was the other team you said? The Saints. Saints again. Saints. They have Colts this weekend. I looked at it before.
Don't they have Miami?
No, yeah, they've got the Dolphins, the Panthers, then the Falcons. So, I think the Dolphins beat them this weekend and end their season because they're so deficient on offense. It's just not funny. They've got no receivers. The offensive, both tackles are missing. Kamara's back their only weapon on offense. So I think those, I'm happy to rule them out. I think the Eagles are alive. I think Washington, again, I don't think they're alive. They're going to win out. I think Eagles are definitely alive. Vikings are alive. I genuinely think the top 6 teams are decided, Rich.
Yeah, but basically, because if Dallas wins this week, Tampa wins this week,
they've clinched. They've clinched.
They'll both clinch. Yeah. So that's done and dusted. Arizona and the Rams, that's going to come down.
One of them's winning, the one's getting in. That's the bottom line. Yeah. There's no 2 ways about it. But
it's going to come down to the last week to see who's who.
Also, none of them play the 49ers. The Rams or the Cardinals don't play the 49ers.
Yeah, so they're in full control of their destiny too now. But they're
Rams
at Tennessee this week.
Yeah, it's a tough game.
And Minnesota play the Rams. So it's going to be tough. Philly got the Giants this week. What's the rest of their run home? Like, can they get this?
But they have Giants, Washington, and then Cowboys. But mind you, by the Cowboys game, it could be over. The Cowboys could be like, we're not playing any starters. Have the win. You know, all I know is, now the reason that might not happen, right? I think the battle for third place, nobody wants to be the 4 seed. Nobody wants to play the 5th seed. No one wants to be 4 playing 5 because realistically, it's probably going to be the Rams or the Arizona Cardinals.
Or Arizona.
One will be in.
The 5 seed.
The 5 seed. If you finish as the 4 seed, you don't want to have the LA Rams or the Arizona Cardinals come to your home. You want the Niners or the Vikings or the Eagles. That's what you want. So the Cowboys it might be a matter of, well, we need a win to secure the 3 or the 2 seed, or even same with the Bucks and the Cowboys, they can still get the 1 seed. Like the way this NFL season's been, the Packers might drop the next 2 games and 2 division games, and the Cowboys and Bucks could then sniff the 1. Like the Rams can get the 1. The 49ers could win out. 49ers are playing really good football at the moment. Nick Bosa is a sneaky defensive player of the year candidate right now. So all I know is I think the top 5 are definitely decided in my mind. 100% decided. I can't believe the Rams got the Vikings. I think they beat the Vikings and then knock them down. But in saying that, I think the Eagles lose to the Giants this week. I don't think the Giants. That's the sort of thing. That's the sort of game the Eagles lose. They beat Washington and then they'll go and lose to the Giants in a division game. So all I know is the Rams win this week. The 49ers, I think, beat the Titans this week because the Titans are struggling right now. Really struggling. That's actually tomorrow's game, so we'll know. And then the Arizona Cardinals play the Colts, which I think they lose, which means the Rams would jump into the division lead. The Cardinals would fall to the 6, and the 49ers would become the 5. So the Arizona Cardinals would go into 3-week span from being the number 1 seed in the NFL to the 6.
Aren't the 49ers 2 games back of Arizona?
Oh, sorry, I read them wrong. Sorry. They would go to the 5, and then 49ers would be the 6. So I think by the end of this week, if that happens, if the Cardinals win, the Rams win, and the 49ers win, they're all but in. All they have to do is win one of their last 2 games, and all 3 of them are in. And they don't play each other. Like one of the Rams and the Niners play each other, but that's it. So they could do it easily.
The one seed will be really interesting because I think Tampa's run home is soft, and so is Dallas. And Green Bay's isn't exactly murderer's row either.
The difference with Dallas is, though, and we say this all the time, Rich, they're all division games. They've got Washington this week, Cardinals, which is, again, they're still a good team, the Cardinals, and the Eagles. So as I said, like, it wouldn't shock me if they lose to Washington this week. It wouldn't shock me. Now, I think they're much better than Washington, and I hope this is the start of them getting back to playing really well. Their defense is dominating at the moment. They're finally getting healthy. DeMarcus Lawrence played his best game of the past 3 years last week and the week before. He's back in form. Gregory's good. Trayvon Diggs he's just doing what he's doing. Micah Parsons may be the best player in the league. In 2 years' time, we might be sitting there going, Micah Parsons just won his 2nd defensive player of the year. That's how good this guy is. He's unbelievable. So I think they should beat Washington, but again, division games are hard. But I think the Cowboys win at least 2 of the next 3 games. I don't think they drop Washington and the Eagles. I think they might drop one. And I think if they lose to Washington, they probably beat Arizona. So really what's up for grabs is the 7 seed. And I reckon the Eagles get it. I think the Eagles got the easiest schedule.
Me too.
Like, did you say who the Vikings have got? Rams, Packers, and Bears. Like, yeah, they probably beat the Bears, but it might not matter by then. If they lose to the Vikings,
lose the other 2,
it's over. You're not. I don't think you're getting in at 8 and 9. Like, surely you're not getting into the playoffs at 8 and 9. Surely.
I don't think so. Not considering the 6 seed right now is already on 8 wins.
If you're at 8 and 9, you open the door for a team like, as I said, like, it could easily change. Washington beat the Cowboys this week. All of a sudden, they're 7 and 8. And then say the Eagles lose to the Giants and the Vikings lose to the Rams, all of a sudden the Washington jump into the 7 seed. So it's open. The next 3 weeks are going to be the next 2 weeks will decide it all. I think by week 18 we'll know.
Yeah, I think the 2 easiest run home is Green Bay and Tampa's. Like Tampa's is so soft. It's Panthers twice and the Jets.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. They'll win that. Now they're injured though. Tampa. It's got good wins out for the season. Which is
horrendous.
Now they will get Brown back. He's playing this week, 100%.
Fake vaccination card.
Fake vax boy. I think Fournette's back this week. I believe he's only going to miss. He's not going to miss a game. But never fear. They signed Le'Veon Bell, so don't even worry about it. You've got your next superstar. Leonard Fournette's done. His year is over.
Yeah, it's not good.
And Levante David. Oh, I did not know that. So you're telling me
I didn't know David.
Levante David done for the regular season. He'll be back for playoffs. Fournette, rest of regular season. So they'll both be back for playoffs. I didn't think it was full season. God, they really need to word things better. They've done as clickbait saying gone for the season. Then when you click on it, it's like regular season. Geez, I didn't think they would go. So that's going to be. It's going to be tough for them, but in saying that, Panthers are shit house. If you can't beat the Panthers twice, you don't deserve to be the 1 or 2 seed, I don't think.
And the Jets won't want to win either.
Jets they're tanking for the next quarterback that no one wanted to draft in the top 5, For me though, I don't know. I'll quickly do my division for the NFC. I think I just lost it. I think Cowboys win the East. I just can't see them. They would have to lose. They would have to lose minimum
all
2
of
of
them.
3 games, and probably all of them. I just don't think it happens. Green Bay, I think they've clinched the division. They win that division, obviously. Bucks win the South. I think they win this week and win the Panthers this week. They beat the Panthers this week, clinch the division. I think the Rams win the West. They're the hottest team at the moment. Arizona are not playing well. Now, that's not saying they'll be in the playoffs. I think they'll definitely be in the playoffs. But, and in the playoffs, they could do some damage. They're still a good team. But I think LA win it. And I think Arizona are the 5 seed. And I think the 49ers, and believe it or not, I think the Eagles are going to be the 7 seed. I think they're going to win I think the Eagles are going to win the next 2 games. I think they beat the Giants this week. They beat Washington next week. And then I think the Cowboys have won the next 2. They win the next 2. And then that last game go, you know what? We're locked in as the number 2 or 3 seed. Let's rest our guys, rest Zeke, just play all our backups and see what happens. And then the Eagles win the next 3. And they finish 10-7 and make the playoffs. Which is nuts because they're bad.
It's, well, hey, expanded playoffs, mate. Somebody bad always has to make it. I'm inclined to agree. I think Arizona is certainly not as hot as we thought they were. I think Green Bay's home. I think they'll stay the number 1 seed. Their run home is soft and they're healthy. Rams got a bit of a COVID issue, so hopefully it doesn't affect them too much. But again, I think...
As long as Cooper Kupp plays, as long as Donald, Cooper Kupp, Ramsey, and Stafford play, they're fine. That's all they need, those 4. They're so good.
Cooper Kupp has a chance of breaking Calvin Johnson's single-season receiving record. He is only 300 yards behind with 3 games to go. I know he's played an extra game, but that's...
Who cares?
That's how we do the records, single season. And
he's also got 122 catches, which is just mental.
Yeah. The records are going to fall because of this extra game, but they also fell from when they went from 14 games to 16, and from they went from 10 games to 12. It happens. That's just the nature of the game. It'll be really interesting, but I really think Philly are going to jump Minnesota, but other than that, teams in the playoffs right now aren't going to change in the NFC. It'll just be where they're situated, especially in the West. Anything could happen out there.
How many yards does Kupp have now? He's got 1,620.
1,600 and change.
So he would right now, as of right now, he's 19th. He's 19th with 3 games to go.
Yeah, I think Calvin Johnson's record is 19 and 86 or something like that.
1964. That's a lot. That's a lot of yards. That's a huge season. But there's a lot of Antonio Brown's 4th, which I didn't realize. Jerry Rice, I can't understand. So it goes Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, which I didn't realize in 2015, Jerry Rice in 95, Antonio Brown in 15. Then you got Isaac Bruce in 95, Greatest Show on Turf. Charlie Hemingway in 1961, which might have just...
That's the most impressive. That's the most impressive one.
Then you've got Michael Thomas, who also had 149 receptions. Keep in mind, Cooper Kupp already has 122 receptions. So I don't think that reception record's breakable, but Calvin Johnson got 1,900 yards with 122 receptions, the same that Cooper Kupp has right now. He had a 16.1 average. No one else is close to that average. Actually, Michael Thomas... No, that can't be right. No, Charlie Hemingway got 1,700 yards off 82 receptions. 21.3 yards per.
I'm sorry, was it?
1961. That must have been the first year they started passing and no one knew what to do. I'm sorry, it's unbelievable. 21 yards.
What team did he play for?
He played for the Houston Oilers, it would have been then. 82 receptions, 746 yards, 12 touchdowns. He had 2 80-yard touchdown catches, tied. They were his 2 longest. 21.
I want to check how many games they played, because I reckon they only played 12.
That's insane then. That's insane.
You ready?
Yeah.
They had a bye in week 2. That's rough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, no, it was 14, but still impressive.
That's, good. Good for you, Charlie. Hennigan. Good for you, Charlie. Well done, mate. That's a pretty cool stat. Anyway, should we get to some...
There's a team called the Dallas Texans.
Really?
There you go. It was a AFL franchise.
Oh, so it was 61 before, 61 would have been before the merger, wouldn't it? When was the merger?
So they played the Oakland Raiders, San Diego Chargers, Dallas Texans, Buffalo Bills, Boston Patriots. Then they played, who else is in here? They played the Denver Broncos and the New York Titans, who went 7-7 in that year.
How much do you give it less credit or more credit?
More. It was in 61. Can you imagine the conditions of the fields?
Yeah, but like, were they playing good teams? You know,
The biggest attendance they played in front of was 35,600. The lowest was 4,800 against the Raiders at Candlestick Park.
So is it impressive?
Yes.
Like, do you think we would have heard about it before if it was that impressive? I've never heard of him before. I reckon
because it was from 1961.
I reckon it's a great player, shitty league situation.
I'm trying to find his Wikipedia page so I can find the rest of his stats.
That's a problem that you can't find his Wikipedia page. Charlie Hennigan, I found it. He was born in 1935. His stats were oh my god, he played 14. So in 1960 he had 44 receptions for 722 yards. Then he had the record season. Then he had 54 in the same amount of games, 54 for 867, 61 for 1,051. Then 64, he had 101 receptions for 1,500 yards. Then he had 41 for 578. Then he had 27 for 313. Then he never played again. He only played 7 seasons.
Look at that, though. He never missed a game, except in his rookie year.
There you go. You know what? Good for you, Hennigan.
Look at all the Oiler Titan franchise records he has. Most receptions in a season. Most receptions in a game. Most receiving yards in a season. Most receiving yards in a game. Most receiving touchdowns for his career. 7 seasons. Mate, we gotta find this guy. He's a legend.
You know what we got to do? We're going to find him and get him on the podcast in the offseason.
Oh, we can't.
Oh,
He's
no.
died.
We've just done the most insensitive thing in the history of podcasting.
Yeah.
Shitty.
We want to interview a dead person.
He died in 2017. Sorry.
Oh,
you know what, Charlie?
Shame.
Fucking good for you, man. Good for you, dude. His picture on his Wikipedia, he's not even wearing a helmet. That's how they must have had helmets in 60s. I don't know. This is how young I am.
He got a scholarship to LSU for track, but he wanted to play football, so he had to transfer to Northwestern.
He was just a runner, and no one was able to cover him. Just back in the day, just the fast white guy was like, man, no one throws the ball, and this just speedy dude running past him nonstop. All right, let's get to Forkham because we're off the rails.
That was great. I'm so glad we went down that rabbit hole. That made me so happy.
It's a fun rabbit hole. You know what? I'm going to get a Charlie Hennigan football card or something. I'm going to try and get a signed helmet of Charlie Hennigan. That's my goal. My goal for the next few months. All right, what do we got? Forkham, give us through the teams that are done with.
Okay, who have we forked? I have forked the Texans, Giants, Jags, Bears, and Falcons. You have forked the Lions, the football team, the Seahawks, the Panthers, and the Vikings.
Washington might bite me in the ass here.
Might come back to get you.
Nah, I was going to do the Eagles. I'm glad I didn't do the Eagles. I thought they were better. Let's have a look. All right, do you want to go first?
You go first. I usually go first.
We're eliminating teams that are in the freaking playoff race. Shit. I'm going to fork the Denver Broncos. Teddy's hurt. Their season's over. And they're not that good. So I'm going to fork the Denver Broncos. Unfortunately, in that division, there's no way they're going to win the next. They're not going to win out. So I'm going to fork them, which fucking shit to fork a 7-7 team. Like, honestly, I can't believe I'm forking a 7-7 team with 3 weeks to go. But I guess that's the same as them being 6-7 in the old NFL, which you wouldn't be confident they're going to make playoffs, are they? So
no.
Give me Richie. I reckon you've got to fork someone from the north.
No. It's wide open. I'm not touching it. I'm going to fork I'm staying in your division. I'm going to fork the Raiders, also a 7-7 team.
Yeah, it'd be tough for them. Tough for them. That's fair. That's hard. That's tough. We've forked two teams in the same division, but they're chasing, like realistically, they're chasing the Chargers and they're chasing the Chiefs, and they're not going to catch either of them. They're not going to catch the Colts, and I don't think they're going to catch the second team in the North. I don't.
No. Whereas the North, they can all still win the division.
It's unbelievable. They're all
Whereas in the West they can't, and that's why I feel safer forking them. The next one I was thinking about, in all honesty, was the Dolphins. But the run they've been on, who the hell knows what's coming out of that?
And their run home. I think next week the hot seat will be the Steelers. I think they'll be gone next week. Next week we have to fork someone from the NFC, the AFC North. Like there'll be no two ways about it. We'll have to fork one of the Browns, Ravens, Bengals, or Steelers. Hopefully the Steelers. Fingers crossed. Because I don't hate the Steelers. I just don't want to watch them in the playoffs. I don't want to watch them in the playoffs. Go travel to some team and get fucking annihilated, or worse, them win a game 6-0 or some crap like that because the weather's bad and they just have a stout day. Like they're not fun to watch. Like I'm sure Steelers fan want to win. I'm sure I haven't heard from Skinny Oliver for a few weeks. Hopefully I hear from him this week. But I am not about the Steelers. I'm not about watching the Steelers at the moment. They are boring to watch. I respect them. I think they've done way better than what all of us thought. But I'm not buying them. And then the Raiders, too much has happened. They're too far behind. Like realistically, if it's not for the Browns having some COVID stuff and then that guy kicking 2 long field goals to win the game, or with the Browns he just kicks an easy field goal at some point in that game, they lose that and they're eliminated. So I'm pretty comfortable with those selections. Out of your list? Are you worried? You're not worried about anyone, are you? No one worries you coming back?
Making it? No, I'm not worried about any of the teams I've forked.
The only one I'm worried about is Washington. Well, actually, I'm not worried about Washington. I don't think they make it. Even if they win out, there's still a chance to not make it. So I'm not sold on them at all. All right. Quickly. Thursday night football tomorrow. Niners at the Titans. Who are you taking, Richie? Just real quick.
Both teams need this. Like, really need it. I'll be honest, I'm not updated on my COVID situation with any of those teams. I hope there's no issues. The Titans really need this and they're at home. They should win. If they're serious, they got to. If they're serious, they got to.
I'm taking the Niners. Niners on a roll. I said Nick Bosa is. If you want to watch some good football, go and watch fucking Nick Bosa play football. He is really storming home for Defensive Player of the Year. He leads the league in pressures on the quarterback. He's got 15 sacks. Like I didn't realize how good a season he'd had. So yeah, get around the Niners. I think they've finally worked out. Jimmy G is doing what he needs to do. They're running the ball better. Amazingly, once Kittle's healthy, they start moving the ball better on offense. He's so important.
Amazing.
So important to them. Once his last 3 or 4 weeks have been unbelievable. Deebo Samuel's they're now using him in the backfield a bit as well. They're just say what you want about Kyle Shanahan. He gets the best out of his players no matter what. But you look at that roster from head to toe, it's not that talented, yet he just finds a way to put him in position to succeed. Like, imagine someone at the start of the year saying Deebo Samuel's going to have the most rushing touchdowns for the 49ers this year. You'd be like, you're an idiot. He's a receiver. You're like, nope, he's going to, like, you know what I mean? Like, he just finds a way to put guys in successful spots and, create conflict on the defense, Richie. It's a big, big word, creating conflict on the defense. He just does it all the time. So give me the Niners, but it's tough. Go on the road at home. Titans are, they're still a good football team, but I really want the Colts to win the division, which means the Titans pretty much have to lose out and the Colts have to win out, because I thought the Colts would be better. They cost themselves early in the season. As you said, you can't get those wins back, Richie. They lost the Titans by such small margins twice. If they win one of those games, they're leading this division right now. And I like Frank Reich. I like Carson Wentz. I'm enjoying watching him play football. Taylor is unbelievably fun to watch. So give me 49ers over the Titans and the Colts to win the division. Richie, that's it, mate.
Love it.
Well,
a couple of Saturday games again this week.
Yeah, there's a Sunday game this week. Now, the schedule might move around again because the NFL, you know what? I'm not against having a football game every day either. They want to move a couple of games around. By all means, I thoroughly enjoyed having them all. I don't know if the players enjoyed it, but I certainly enjoyed it. I don't know if the players playing on Wednesday and Thursday are real happy to then roll around and play a Monday game. But you know what? Player safety only matters if it's not at the NFL's expense, Richie. You need to know that. If the NFL is going to take a clip from it, fuck your safety, all right? Fuck it. But yeah, I'm all in for football every day. But it's Christmas Eve tomorrow. If you listen to this, if it's Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, whenever, have a great Christmas, everyone. It's been a long fucking year. Like, it's been a tough year for everyone. So I hope everyone enjoys spending time with their family. I hope if they're interstate, they're getting to spend Christmas with them. Hug your loved ones, get around them all, be safe, look after yourselves, drink plenty, eat plenty, do what you got to do, but really have a good break, because I think every person deserves it after the last couple of years. And hopefully we're on the way through, and hopefully we're not back doing it again next year. I'm choosing to stay positive, Richie, that 2022 won't be like 2020 and 2021. I'm going to be that guy that's positive about it and hope it's what happens, and I feel like it will. But and to you, Richie, thank you as always, mate. Have a great Christmas with your loved ones. Hope you're hosting this year. I hope it goes well. Hope you feed the mass. How many you got? 20?
15 or 16.
You're a braver man than me. I wouldn't. I don't even want to hang out with 15 people at a pub, let alone in my house. Like,
it's because in a pub they'll give you COVID.
Hey, don't laugh. You might. There's probably somebody at your house on Saturday just got COVID. But yeah, everyone enjoy the week. Thanks to all our sponsors. J&D's Breaks Down Under. Make sure you get Deshaun Watson helmet. Get in there, $10 a month. Hey, start your new year with a Deshaun Watson signed chrome, beautiful Texans helmet. It's a ripper. Next month's one is outstanding. I literally cannot wait to show you next month's helmet. I might just put in a few, fake accounts to try and win that one, because it is a ripper. I can't wait to announce it. But thank you to the boys there. Thank you to Burnley Brewing, Dark Horse Electrics, US Sports Gear. Love all your support, guys. Really appreciate it. Richie, have a great Christmas, mate. I will definitely talk to you in the next couple of days, but we'll see everyone next week for the podcast.